Katie Hopkins has long been known as a confident and outspoken figure who never shies away from sharing her views, and her recent criticism of Keir Starmer's leadership of the Labour Party follows that same pattern. Her latest comments have triggered widespread discussion across social media and news outlets, particularly as a public petition opposing Starmer's policies has now passed 3 million signatures. Hopkins openly questions whether Starmer is truly listening to those who need support the most, which has stirred strong emotional responses. Whether people agree with her or not, her remarks raise important and unsettling questions that resonate with many across the UK, pushing Starmer to directly confront public dissatisfaction. Her bold approach not only grabs attention, but also encourages intense debate, shining a light on the growing frustration and disappointment with today's political leadership. At the heart of this controversy are striking claims that Keir Starmer is trying to block Nigel Farage and Lee Anderson from appearing on platforms such as GB News. While some view these figures as controversial, Katie Hopkins strongly believes they represent an important voice of opposition that should not be shut down. She isn't just offering criticism of Starmer. She is issuing a clear and direct challenge. According to Hopkins, any attempt to silence these voices would reveal his weakness and reluctance to face tough questions, further deepening public doubt about his leadership. For her, this goes beyond political strategy. It is about protecting freedom of speech. She emphasises that true leadership means confronting disagreement openly, not suppressing it. To Hopkins, this is a matter of principle, and she remains firm in her stance, insisting that every voice deserves to be heard. Even when it sparks controversy, Hopkins is far from the only one expressing anger over the situation. Well-known figures like Jeremy Kyle have also openly criticised Starmer's approach to major issues such as immigration and housing. Kyle, for instance, has highlighted concerns about migrants being placed in hotels, while many British citizens continue to face homelessness and hardship. This sharp contrast has triggered strong emotions and widespread debate across the country. Katie Hopkins echoes this frustration by voicing a question many people are already asking: how can the government focus on housing migrants while overlooking struggling Britons? She makes it clear that supporting those in need, including migrants, is important, but it should not come at the cost of citizens who have built and sustained the nation. For Hopkins, this goes beyond fairness. It is about basic human dignity. She argues that Starmer's policies must strike a balance, ensuring both migrants and citizens have equal access to essential services. This is not just political talk, it is a call for justice, an urgent demand for action, and a challenge to a government that seems disconnected from the everyday struggles of its own people. She argues that shutting down opposing voices weakens the very core of a free society. However, Katie Hopkins' criticism goes far beyond free speech alone. One of her strongest claims is that Starmer's leadership has let down the older generation, particularly pensioners. She describes hard-working men and women who spent their lives contributing to society, only to be left behind by a government she believes is more focused on big promises than the real challenges facing the elderly. Hopkins draws attention to distressing stories of retirees struggling with rising energy costs, limited access to healthcare, and failing social services. In doing so, she presents herself as a strong voice for this often overlooked group, bringing their difficulties into public view. Yet her concerns don't stop there. She goes on to question whether the working class has experienced any real improvement under Starmer's leadership. For Hopkins, the answer is simple. Everyday people are still facing hardship, while those in power continue to turn a blind eye. Hopkins believes that Starmer fails to grasp the growing gap between government policies and the tough realities ordinary people face every day. To her, this issue goes far beyond charts or statistics. It is about life, survival, and the well-being of countless families. She raises urgent questions that reflect real, everyday worries. Can families afford their electricity bills, Or will they be forced to choose between food and medicine? Can people feel safe and secure in their own homes? Or will they continue living with constant uncertainty about the future? These are not distant or theoretical issues. They are real struggles shaping the lives of millions. Hopkins argues that genuine leadership must face these problems head-on and address them honestly. Hopkins highlights the clear divide between Starmer's promises and his actions, a divide that has sparked genuine anger and frustration across the country. When Starmer and his deputy, Angela, promised not to raise taxes, many struggling families felt a small sense of relief, a brief hope that their financial pressures might ease. However, the recent tax increase has made that promise feel like a deep betrayal, cutting straight to the heart of public trust. For Hopkins, this goes far beyond figures on a balance sheet. It is about broken trust and the heavy impact on everyday households. Working-class families, already under intense strain from rising inflation and the growing cost of living, are now facing even higher taxes. For these families, every penny counts, and the extra burden forces painful choices between food, rent, heating, and other basic needs. Hopkins argues that this is not leadership at all, but abandonment. It's becoming increasingly clear that Starmer's credibility as a leader is slipping fast. A serious question now looms: can he truly guide the country through these critical times? Opinion polls and social media conversations reveal a growing trend. Frustration is on the rise. Many voters feel let down by his apparent inability to tackle urgent national issues, with some even labelling him one of the weakest leaders in modern British history. Hopkins drives home a strong point. British citizens, particularly the working class and pensioners, are feeling more vulnerable than ever under Starmer's leadership. Their hopes for a better future are fading, and they are no longer willing to stay quiet. They demand change, and most importantly, they want their voices heard. What do you think about this video? Share your thoughts in the comments, and see you next time.